Bonjour, welcome to Wahsa Citizens Education Center's radio Zoom classes. This is MEL3E, grade 11 workplace math, and I'm Bronwyn Slade. If you'd like to participate live today, you can call the Wahsa studio at 1-800-465-7144 or 737-4017. You can listen on the radio at 91.9 FM and on the television at Bell Express U channel 972. You're always welcome to join me live through the Zoom link, which is available from me, your teacher, and also your DEC.
Our classes are scheduled Monday through Thursday from 9 till 10 in the morning. And we are now in our 9th and final week of our 9-week course.
You should know by now that the support questions with the pencil icon are not for marking, so don't submit them. But the key questions with the key icon are the ones that I grade. So please do all of these questions, showing all of your work and your steps and your thinking. This way I can give you credit for as much understanding as you have, and I can support you to understand more if need be. There are 3 methods for submitting your work to Mark. The first is to scan your work in and send it electronically. You can scan your completed work through the iPhone Notes app or the Android Google Drive app. Then you can send it either by email to studentwork@nnec.on.ca and CC it to bronwyn.slate@nnec.on.ca, or you can also send it to me through Facebook Messenger at bslatewasa. Second method is to drop your work off in Sioux Lookout. We have an outdoor mailbox at our location at 74 Front Street, with the bright red building next to the post office. And we have a small white mailbox next to our side entrance. The third method is to hand your work into your DEC. Then your DEC can either send your work through the Express or fax it to 807-737-1732 or toll-free fax to 1-800-463-7852. If you'd like to connect with me through social media, both my Facebook and my YouTube channel under the name bslatewasa. All of our radio Zoom classes are recorded and I upload them to YouTube. So you can find them all there under the playlist MEL3E. Also, there are short videos that explain common errors or confusing concepts that are available there as well. It's a good place to go if you're struggling with something. Math, very visual subject. Listening to me on the radio only gives you a small portion of the understanding. So I strongly encourage you to connect to the videos, either by joining me live through Zoom, even if you just want to watch and not talk, that is fine. Or if you or connecting to the YouTube videos and watching them on your own time. However, you can't do either of those options and you'd like me to send you a copy of all of the recordings, just let me know. If you have any questions or concerns, please reach out and contact me. As things are wrapping up, I am trying to connect with students, but I am focusing on the students who have handed in work to me already. So if you haven't handed in work or it has been a long time, then you need to take it upon yourself to reach out to me if you're still interested in finishing your credit this year. You can email me at bronwyn.slate, which is spelled BRONWYN.SLATE@nnec.on.ca. You can Facebook me at bslatewasa or call me at 807-737-1488. My extension is 2209. You can call toll free as well at 1-800-667-3703. Again, our Friday, June 10th is the last day to submit your work. Please get your work in. All right, so we are reviewing Unit 3 today. But let's first activate our brain with some mental math. We know I don't believe in memorization and drill tests. They don't help us learn things. They just help us reproduce something that maybe we know already, or they just stress us out. So not really useful. Instead, we look at strategies that maybe we can use in various situations using the skills that we have. Our question today is 54 times 36. Strategy of partial product. So the idea is that we are multiplying each of the bits together to make sure that but we're doing it in friendly numbers. I like to use a box to do this, to organize my information. You can totally still do this in your head if you are interested in doing it. But if you like to do it visually, I like to do it like this. So I draw a a box. You can actually draw a box if you'd like. And I write 50 plus 4 because that's what 54 is. And then I write 30 plus 6 on the vertical and 50 plus 4 on the horizontal. It doesn't matter which order you go in. Wherever you have a plus sign, I draw a line, and this gives me this box. So I know that I need to multiply each of the things, of the numbers that line up, kind of like a multiplication table, like a hundreds chart sort of situation. So 30 times 50, well, I know that 3 times 5 is 15. And then, so 3 times 50 is going to be 150. So 30 times 50 is going to be 1,500. So basing on the knowledge that I have for 3 times, 3 times 5, and then with my place value, then 30 times 4, well, I know 3 times 4 is 12, so 30 times 4 is going to be 120. Then 5 times 6 is 30, so 6 times 50 is going to be 300. And then 6 times 4 is 24. So yes, I am using the facts that I know to help me do this. But if I wanted to, if I didn't know these facts, I could break up my numbers into different numbers. I could do 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 and do that. So that is 36. Do that times 50 plus 4. Do each of those so that 10 times 50 is 500. 10 times 4 is 40. 10 times 50 is 500. I could do this over and over again in these parts that are familiar and friendly to me. If this over here is not friendly, 2 times 50 is 100. 2 times 4 is 8. It just means that I'd have to end up doing more adding at the end. But you're going to get the exact same answer, right? Because 500 plus 500 plus 500 is 1,500. 40 plus 40 plus 40 is 120. 100 plus 100 plus 100 is 300. And 8 plus 8 plus 8 is 24. So you can do it in different ways depending on what is familiar and comfortable for you. You don't have to do the exact same way that I do. You can do it in different parts, whatever makes more sense. It might take more writing out, but that is fine. It's not about, this strategy is not about writing it out the best. This is about what makes sense. And then we add those numbers together. So 1,500 plus 120 is 1,620, plus 300 is 1,920, plus 24 is 1,944. So that is what our answer is. And that's how you can use partial products. If you used these and you added them up, you get the exact same thing because these are just in smaller parts. Okay, so what are we expecting on the final assessment? It's not an exam, but a culminating assignment. So it's something that pulls together everything that we've learned. It covers all 20 of our lessons. It's open book, so you can use the assignments, the YouTube videos, the IEL booklet, your Desmos calculators, your Google Maps. You can use all the tools that we've used. It's not timed, but it does have a deadline, particularly June 10th this week. If that doesn't work for you and you've handed in the rest of your work, if you communicate with me, I'm willing to give an extension into next week, but you need to communicate with me. The structure is slightly unfamiliar. It is not direct. It's not exactly the same in terms of what your booklets have been, but it's fine. You can still do it. Okay, so let's dive into our lessons. We're looking at credit cards for lesson 11. So when you're looking at a credit card, we talked about how you want to have a lower or manageable interest rate. No annual fee is ideal. If it has a free credit score tracker, that can be useful. Having no or low security deposits, so you're not having to deposit something at the beginning. Maybe having a reward system that pays you back in some way, and thinking about where you're going to use it. Are you going to use it a lot at gas stations? If you're going to use it a lot for flights, you're going to use it for hotels, you're going to use it at Walmart. Thinking about that might help you get more rewards or get more for your credit card. It's really important to understand what the cost of borrowing. This is not free money. It is best to think of a credit card as just one way of spending money that you already have. It is best to pay it off immediately. So as soon as you get your bill, to pay off the entire balance on your credit card, so then you're not charged any interest. They have to legally give you an information box on the credit card applications that spell out all of the associated potential costs. Please don't skip reading this fine print. It is long, but it gives you a lot of information in terms of if this is the right card for you and if this is something that you can manage. If you're making minimum payments, they only are, you're taking a little bit away from the balance. You may be paying a lot of interest. You may not even be paying more than the interest. So it might just be adding up. So it's really, really dangerous to just make minimum payments. You're basically going to be caught in a debt cycle forever. It is best to just pay off as much as you can. If you, okay, so let's look at some questions about how we understand credit cards. So this is number 1 on page 4 of your IEL booklet, the support questions for lesson 11. Why do you think the application asks the type of work and how long the person has been employed with that employer? So when you were filling out a credit card application, why does the credit card company care about that? So they want to know if you have reliable, steady employment and income. And they may verify it. They may contact the employer. That's why they want to know how long you've been there and what type of work you do. Why is housing information important to the credit card company? So what kind of debt do you currently have? So do you have a mortgage? And also, are you a resident of the location of Ontario? Fraud, many folks use credit cards to, credit card fraud is a significant thing and a significant issue, and not having it attached to an actual location is something that credit card companies have realized is a way that people are fraudulent. So having your application directly attached to a physical address gives them that information that you are more likely to be a real person, opposed to someone who is creating identities and doing fraud. All right, number 3 on page 5. Using the credit card information below to answer the following questions. So I took a screenshot of the little CIBC Adventura Gold Visa card. So what is the annual fee on this card? So we need to look, it has to tell us, it says right here, annual fee, $120. So for every year, just for having this card, if you don't use it anyway, you're gonna pay $120. What does it mean by maximum credit limit? So that's interesting because it says minimum credit limit and the question asks maximum credit limit. So that's a problem. The question, it doesn't tell us. So that's a correction I need to make. So let's ignore that question. C, what is the credit card's annual interest rate? So they have to tell us that the current regular annual interest rate is 19.5%. And what do you think the purpose of the additional cards would be? So additional cards $50 each, up to 3 available. So this could be for a spouse. And some people give it to children or other family members. You have to be really careful about that, because if it is on your card, then you are responsible for paying off whatever charges they have. And if they ruin the credit, it is your credit that it is being ruined. So you really need to trust the people who you are choosing to share this with. All right, number 4, Jordan purchases $249 DVD player on March 1st with his credit card. He also makes a minimum payment of $25 on March 30th. If the balance at the beginning of March was 135, what is his new balance on March 31st? So beginning of March, it was 135 is how much on the credit card. We added a charge of 249. So that is, if we just add this up, I'm going old school. UC algorithm, sorry, it's a rough day. And then we subtract $25 because he made a payment of $25. So that means that $359 is Jordan's new balance. This doesn't take into account any interest because we don't know what the interest rate is. This is just based on purchase and payments. Okay, let's look at lesson 12, the loans. So loans are impacted by many factors. So the cost really varies depending on these factors. So first, the amount of a loan. So how much money you're borrowing. The more money you borrow, the more money it's going to cost you. The length of the loan, the longer it takes you to pay back a loan, the more money it's going to cost you. The amount of the regular payments, the lower your payments, the more money it's going to cost you. It's going to take you longer to pay it back. The rate of interest, so a higher interest rate means that you pay more interest, you pay more money. And the number of regular payments paid in a year, if it's less frequent, if you don't pay as often, you will end up paying more money. So that is just all something to consider if you're trying to pay off a loan and you want to pay it off faster. Some of those things are within your control. Maybe you can pay it more frequently. Maybe you can increase your payment size. Basically, those are the things that are really within your control. If you've already borrowed the money, you can't change the amount of money that you borrowed. In order to change the length of the loan, then you have to either make payments more frequently or make larger payments. And the interest rate, maybe you can negotiate a lower interest rate, but that's something that isn't totally within your control. So then we need to understand amortization tables. So this is basically the process of writing down the value of your loan and keeping track of it. So it's used by lenders to present a loan repayment schedule based on a specific end date. It's used in the process of paying off debt through regular principal and interest payments over time. An amortization schedule provides clarity into what portion of a loan payment consists of interest versus the principal. So here, looking at this amortization schedule, so our principal amount is $200,000. That's how much you borrowed. Your interest rate is 5.5%. You pay monthly every month, and you're paying, the number of payments is 360. So to me, 300 divided by 12 is going to be 36 divided by 12 is 3. So 360 divided by 12 is 30. So it's 30 years is how long. And then this is just what your payment is $1,135.58. This sounds likely that it's a mortgage. You're buying a house and this is the money that you borrowed. So in your amortization schedule, each of your payments are the same amount. So they're always, no matter what, it is always $1,135.58. And then part of that goes to the principal. So, and that's subtracted from the amount that you borrowed that you're paying back. Then the other part goes to the interest, and that is just you're paying whoever you borrowed the money from, you're paying them for the luxury of borrowing the money. And then the balance remaining after each payment is the original balance, take away the principal, or the previous balance, take away the principal part of the payment. The interest, how you figure that out is based on your interest rate, and that's how much beginning of your payment, a lot of your payments, beginning of your loan, a lot of your payment is going towards interest, whereas at the end of your loan, a lot of your payment is going towards principal. So let's answer some questions on page 12, number 1. For each of the situations below, what is the total cost of the loan and the amount of interest paid on each loan? So A, $3,000 for 1 year with monthly payments of $258.12. So for 1 year, monthly payments, that means we're making 12 payments times $258.20. So figure out how much we actually pay. We borrowed $3,000, but over a year, if we make all of these payments, we end up paying $3,098.04. That doesn't make sense. 40 cents probably is what it was. So that means the amount of, so that's the total cost of the loan. That's how much you pay back in total. So the interest paid is how much you pay, the total amount, $3,090.40, take away 3,000, which is how much you borrowed. So you paid $98.40. Let's do B. So it's $12,000 loan for 3 years with monthly payments of $370.53. So 3 years of monthly payments, that's going to be 3 times 12, which is 36. So it's 36 payments. So $370.53 times 36. So using our calculator is equal to $13,339.08. So that means that that's the total cost of the loan, but the interest is that amount, the total amount that you end up paying over the 3 years, take away how much you borrowed. So that means that it's $1,339.08 is what your interest you paid in. So that's how you figure out the total cost and the interest when you know the number of payments you're making and how much the payment is. All right, number 2, refer to the amortization table given below. How many years is it going to take to pay off this loan? So looking at this amortization table, we can see, all right, so we have payment numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it doesn't tell us the year, it just tells us the payments. We have 24 payments. Okay. And then if we look at the payment date, we see it is the 1st of the month of the 10th month, 11th month, 12th month, 1st, 2nd, 3rd. So we can see that we're making payments monthly. So if we're making payments monthly and we make 24 payments in total, 24 divided by 12, because it's monthly payments, equals 2 years. Often the payments occur monthly. We already figured that out. How much will the loan have cost in total? So how we figured that out is the same way that we did before in terms of we have our payment. Our total payment is $204.55. And that we're doing that 24 times. So same way that we did before, we take our payment amount and we times it by the number of payments. So that's $4,909.20 is how much the total cost of the loan is. What do you notice about the amount of interest as more payments occur? So if we look at our interest column, we can see at the beginning, our earlier payments, $31.88 is how much we were paying in interest on our first payment. On our last payment, $1.44 is how much in interest. So we pay high interest at the beginning. And low interest at the end. That's how it always works. You're always paying more, though you are paying the same amount, the amount of that is going towards your payment and making your loan smaller is lower at the beginning, whereas the amount that is going towards your interest is higher at the beginning. But you know, it's about the principal as more payments occur. So our principal amount starts off at 172.68 and ends up at 201.57. So it increases. Which makes sense if the interest is decreasing. Okay, lesson number 13, driver's licenses and insurance. So in Ontario, our driver's licensing system is a two-step licensing process that takes at least 20 months to complete, but you have a total of 5 years. So the first step is your class G1, and you need to have a minimum of 12 months before attempting your G1 road test, but you can reduce this to 8 months with a completion of an approved driver's education course. There are many restrictions and limitations, including no alcohol in your system, having a licensed driver in the front seat who has very, very minimal alcohol in their system and has been driving for at least 4 years, has had their full G license for at least 4 years. You can't drive in the middle of the night or on big expressways, and everyone needs to be buckled in. The only number of people in the vehicle are the number of working seatbelts in your vehicle. Then after that 12 months or 8 months, you can then take your G1 road test, which means that if you pass, you get your G2, and then you need to have that for a minimum of 12 months. You need to have that for at least a year before you can attempt your G2 road test, which is then how you get your final G license. So though you have a total of 5 years to complete it, you need to make sure that you have your G2 with at least 1 year left in your 5 years to do your final test, or else you have to retake a test and pay more money. After thinking about just your licensing, we need to think about insurance. So by law in Canada, the owner of a car is required to insure the car. Failure to have insurance can result in a large fine and going to court. So this insurance, the point of insurance is so that if accidents happen, because even the best drivers have accidents happen that are outside of your control. So it is better to be safe than sorry, so that you don't end up having to pay a lot of money that you don't have. Insurance supports you with that. But different things impact your insurance costs. So you pay a premium. Usually people pay it monthly. You can pay it yearly, I believe, but usually people pay it monthly to make it more accessible. And based on your driving experience, how long you've been driving and how well you've been driving, if you have, so your driving history, if you have a history of crashes or tickets, your age and your gender, your location. If you live in a higher populated area, your insurance is going to be higher. Your costs are going to be higher. Your vehicle type, certain vehicles have associated with higher costs based on statistics. Your vehicle uses, how much you use it. The more you use it, the more higher your insurance is going to be. And if you have winter tires, being in Canada, you have winter tires during the winter months. I believe it is from like November to April or something. I'm not sure exactly. Each company might be slightly different. Then they give you a deal on your insurance premiums because you are going to be likely safer in the winter and less likely to make a claim. We need to talk about demerit points. So once you have your license and your vehicle is insured, then you are driving. If you're found guilty of a traffic ticket offense, then you get a demerit point. So you may get a ticket, you may have to pay a fine, but you also, is a sort of a tracking system so that the more demerit points you have, then your license could be suspended or eventually taken away completely if you continue to be doing things that are dangerous. You start off with 0 points and you can go up to 15. A demerit point will stay on your record for a maximum of 2 years of the offense date. If once 2 years has passed, then it automatically is removed from the record so that that gets cleared. There is a really, really long list of what different offenses are. I just have screenshotted here the top ones, the ones that are cost you the most points. So failing to remain at a scene of a collision or failing to stop when signaled or asked by a police officer are both 7 demerit points. Careless driving, stunt driving, failing to stop for a school bus, and exceeding the speed limit by 50 kilometers or more are all 6 demerit points. And then exceeding the speed limit by 30 kilometers to 49 kilometers an hour and following too closely are both 4 demerit points. If you go back to our lesson number 13, you can see the list of all of the demerit points. Basically, be safe and you won't get demerit points. In addition to demerit points, there is a victim fine surcharge. So if whatever your crime is, whatever your ticket is, if you have impacted someone else, then they add a surcharge to your fine. For speeding, every single speeding ticket has a victim fine surcharge added to it. So this money goes to a justice fund, which helps victims of crime. So there's a chart in terms of if your fine is between $0 and $50, then you add an extra 10. If it's between 51 and 75, you add 15, 76, 120, and continued. You have to look that up. Again, you don't need to memorize this, just look it up. Okay, so calculate the cost. Sorry, number 1 on page 23, support question. Calculate the cost of each of the speeding fines and the number of demerits. Exceeding a speed limit by 22 kilometers an hour. So we have our chart here that tells us if you are speeding at between 20 and 34 kilometers an hour over your speeding limit, then it's $3.75 per kilometer. So we do 22 times $3.75, and that is equal to a fine of $82.50. But all of our speeding costs have a victim surcharge. So then we have to look and see our fine is $80.50. That's in this third amount. So we're going to add another $20. So your total fine is going to be $102.50. Plus, then looking at our demerit points, if it is between 16 to 29 kilometers an hour over the speed limit, it is 3 demerit points. Then let's jump to C, exceeding the speed limit by 70 kilometers an hour. So again, we look at our speeding chart. So it's a minimum fine of $7,000 because it's over 50 kilometers an hour. So yeah, $7,000 and possible seizure of your vehicle. Then your victim surcharge, it's going to be over $1,000 because it's at least 7. So it's going to be over $1,000, which means it's going to be 25 cents. So plus, 25% of fine, because we don't know how much it's actually going to be. And then the demerit points, because it's over 50 kilometers an hour, then it is 6 demerit points. And possible license suspension if you're a G1 or G2 driver. So don't do that. That is too fast. All right, number 2, calculate the cost of each of the speeding fines and the number of demerit points when you are in a community safety zone. So your fines are doubled. If you're in a community safety zone, then you are paying more if you are unsafe, if you're doing too fast. So if we are going at, well, last time we did 22, so let's do 25 kilometers an hour. So 25 times, now we're in the same range, 20 to 34, but now it's $7.50. So 25 times 750 is, oops, forgot a decimal point, $187.50. So that's significantly more, right? It's like $100 more. So then we look at our service charge. So that's going to be $150, $200. So plus $35, which is going to be $222.50. And then our $25 is, sorry, 25 kilometers in community safety zone is still 3 demerit points. So it's a higher fine, but it's the same number of demerit points according to our list. And that's how you calculate your speeding fines. Number 5, which situation result in a higher insurance premium? Getting a full class G license last year or getting it 25 years ago? So it's really important to figure out what the question's asking. So higher insurance, what is going to cost you more money? So being a newer driver is going to cost you more money. So getting a full class G license last year result in a higher premium. I find a lot of people answer this backwards. So make sure that you're knowing what the question's asking. Okay, lesson number 14, new and used vehicles. So new cars have numerous costs in addition to the sticker or base price. Some of the extra costs are delivery, freight, pre-delivery expenses, pre-delivery inspection, administration fees, dealer preparation, and there isn't a set amount necessarily. It's going to change depending on the car. Then there's also fuel consumption tax, your AC federal tax for $100, a fuel charge for them putting gas or fuel in your vehicle, and a license fee for them putting your license plate and registration on your vehicle. So it's more than just the number that they give you or that's on the price tag. It's a lot more generally. Then depreciation is the fact that your vehicle loses value as soon as you buy it. So as soon as it's no longer new, it loses value. So this chart here shows us that after 5 years of that car being 5 years old, the value of the car is only 33% of the original value. So that's a lot of changed value if for such a large investment. So then that gets us to used cars. So it might be good for you because it's cheaper in many ways. So in terms of you've already lost all that value, so you don't have to pay. That car is less valuable than it was originally just for being new. Insurance can be lower. Licensing, lots of things can be lower. You can also worry less about damage because your vehicle isn't brand new. So that value is already lost. So minimum damage isn't going to change things a lot. But there are still extra costs. So a safety standard certificate, a drive clean emissions test, an extended warranty, if you choose that, HST on the sale at a used car lot, which is HST on a new car as well, but only PST of 8% on private sales. The GST is not charged on a private sale. Then the license fee and the fuel fee, again, are going to still be, if you're buying it from a dealership, you're still going to have those fees. If you're buying it privately, you wouldn't have those fees. They wouldn't do that for you. You'd have to do it. Okay, so let's look at some support questions. So number 2 on page 31, I just screenshotted this so that we get all of the information. The Ford Freestyle base price is given below, $33,295. There's a $500 delivery car charge, a $100 federal air conditioner tax, 75 fuel consumption tax, HST. So in these lists, whenever HST shows up, that means that they are reminding you that HST is applied to everything above, but not the things that are below. So the $20 licensing fee and the $40 in fuel, you don't pay HST on. So for A, what is the total purchase price in the Ford Freestyle? So first, we're going to get a subtotal by adding our price, $33,295 plus $500 for delivery charge plus $100 plus $75. So that all equals, let me just add it up. So that is 33,970. But then we need to add tax. So HST, so we're going to times that by 13%. So 0.13 is equal to $4,416.10. So the total purchase price is going to be the subtotal plus the tax plus the licensing fee and fuel fee will be the amount. So add those all together. You get $38,446.10. That is the actual purchase price. So how much more is this purchase price than the base price? So we're going to just subtract the total purchase price from, it has to subtract the base price from the total purchase price. So this is like the ticket price. So $5,151.10. So when you're just looking, oh, it's just going to cost $33,295. That's within our budget. Our budget is under 35,000, but another $5,000 is added onto that with everything else. So just something to be aware of. Number 4, determine the depreciation value of each car. The base price of $18,250 and depreciates at 20% in 1 year. So how we figure out depreciation is we do our amount times our percentage. So 18,225 times 20%. So 0.20 is 3,650. So to figure out the new value, we take our original value and subtract the depreciation amount, how much value is lost. So 14,600 for this question. So now after 1 year, our vehicle is $14,600. The number of years, just because it is increased, if you're doing a question where it is higher, you don't have to change anything, because if you'll notice, your depreciation rate has increased. So in these questions, the depreciation was 20% in 1 year, then it's 35% in 2 years, and then it's 55% in 4 years. So you don't have to change the fact that the years are more, just the depreciation rate is has already increased. And number 6, what is the total purchase price for a used car given the advertisement given below? So here we have this Auto Trader for a 2000 Porsche. The price is $72,000. And so I need to look. It tells us if there's, so it says e-test and cert included. The ad type is that it's private. So that means that we don't pay HST on it, but we do pay 8% GST. So 8% GST. So that means we're gonna add $5,760. So the total price, because it doesn't tell us anything else. So this is private, so that means that we're not going to be paying a license fee or a fuel fee. We don't pay any of those extra taxes because it is an older vehicle. The e-test and the certificate are already included. That's already included in the price. So really, it is only the PST that we have to pay. Honestly, I don't know if on Ontario, because we don't have PST, we just have HST. I don't know how that works for us. I don't know if we just still pay 8% or what happens. We pay something, I'm sure. So it is, we add those two together, we have $77,760 is how much we pay total. Okay, and last lesson number 15, leasing vehicles. So this means that you are, when you're leasing a vehicle, you are allowed to get a new vehicle for a fixed price for an agreed amount of time. It's like a long-term rental. Once the fixed lease period is over, which is generally between 2 to 4 years, then the customer, you return it, the car, to the leasing company, or you can purchase it at the market value. There are always extra fees. There's a security deposit that can be refundable at the end of your lease if the car is in good condition. You pay down payment. There's an excess kilometer usage fee. So if you drive it more than you agreed that you were going to drive it, then you pay because you put more kilometers on the vehicle, that reduces the value. So then you pay for that. And then you also pay HST on your monthly payments. At the end of your lease, you have 3 options. You can return the vehicle and sign a new lease, get a new vehicle. You can purchase the vehicle at the predetermined price and you can keep it, or you can return the vehicle and walk away and do something completely different. So then back to the kilometer usage surcharge. So vehicle always has a maximum kilometers that you're allowed to use. It might be per year, it might be in total. If you go over that amount, then you have to pay an extra amount and it's called a surcharge. For each extra kilometer, you pay an extra amount and they give you that rate. You agree upon that in your lease. So number 1 on page 41, calculate the cost of leasing each of the vehicles below, assuming the security deposit is returned. So with this, if you're assuming the security deposit is returned, there's 2 ways you can do it. You can add it in and then subtract it, or you can just ignore it because you know you're going to get it back at the end. So if the deposit is returned, you can't just ignore it. That is fine. So now we need to figure out the payments, how much we pay in payments. So we have 4 years, so monthly payments. So that's 48 payments of $329.99. You can do the HST in a couple of different ways. You can do it at sort of individual payment. You can do it after a yearly payment. You can do it after all the payments. It's going to be the same amount. So I'm just going to do $48 times $329 and 48 payments times $329.99. So that is $15,839.52. 15,839.52. So then the tax on that, we're going to take that full amount. We're going to just calculate the tax all at once because we're just looking at totals. We don't care about the individual amounts. So we're going to take that full amount and times it by 13%. So that is $2,099.14. So that means the total of the payments is equal to those added together. I don't know what's going on. So $15,839.52 plus the tax of $2,059.14 is equal to $17,898.66. What is all you pay? Nope. So you total payment or total paid because you had a down payment. So 3,000 plus that $17,898.66. So it's $20,898.66. You could add the $350 and then take it away again, or you can just leave it out for the security deposit. All right, number 2, calculate the kilometer use surcharge on each of the below. So you are allowed to use 65,000 kilometers. You actually use 71,342. And for each extra kilometer, you pay 15 cents. So first we need to figure out how many extras you used. So we do that by $71,342, take away 65,000. So that's going to be 6,342 extra kilometers. So for the cost of that, it is 6,342 times 15 cents per kilometer. So in total, oops, wrong button. You're going to pay an extra $951.30. So it can add up to a lot. We look at E, where we have allowable usage is 100,000 kilometers. The actual usage is 89,205 kilometers with a surcharge of 12 kilometers. Here, do we use more than we're allowed to use? No. So there's no service. There's no overcharge, because we didn't use extra. So be careful with that. Pay attention to that. Some people just automatically subtract without paying attention to what the question is asking. Number 3, calculate the cost. Oh, we have run out of time. Sorry. If you have any questions, please reach out as always in the usual way. That is the end of the time that we have for Unit 3. Good luck with your review. Thanks for joining me, Witch.